You're at the airport, your phone's dying, and someone just left a lightning cable on the seat next to you. You plug it in without thinking, and 30 seconds later, a stranger across the terminal is scrolling through your bank app. Ever wonder if that free USB port in the wall is actually free? Or if you're paying with something far more valuable than money? Today, I'll explain juice jacking and public charging dangers like you're 5 years old. By the end, you'll understand what's actually dangerous and what's just fear-mongering clickbait. You'll also know what you should really be protecting yourself from when you're desperate for battery. Here's the truth about juice jacking and why it's technically possible. Yes, a modified USB port can technically access your phone's data through the same pins that charge your battery. USB cables aren't just power delivery systems, they're data highways. When you plug into your laptop, your phone syncs photos, transfers files, backs up your messages. The same cable creates the same connection for data transfer. So, in theory, a hacker could install malicious hardware in a public charging station, wait for someone to plug in, and start pulling data. Security researchers have demonstrated it in labs. The FBI even issued a warning about it back in 2021, telling people to avoid public USB charging stations. But here's what nobody mentions when they're trying to scare you. There's almost zero documented cases of this actually happening to a real person in the wild. The FBI warning was about theoretical risk, not an active threat sweeping through airports. Building a juice jacking station requires hardware skills and physical access to modify the port. It also requires the patience to wait around hoping someone with valuable data plugs in. Meanwhile, there are way easier ways to steal your information that don't involve soldering circuit boards into airport walls at 3 in the morning. Here's where it gets wild. Everyone's paranoid about the wrong thing. You're worried about the USB port in the airport terminal, but you're literally doing things that are 1,000 times more dangerous and you don't even notice. That lightning cable someone left on the table next to you could be modified with a chip inside that costs $20 on Amazon. You plug it in thinking you got lucky, and now someone's actually accessing your phone. It's called a malicious cable, and unlike modified charging stations, these things exist and actually get used. They look identical to normal cables with the same color and connectors, same charging speed, and same appearance to the naked eye. Or consider this scenario that happens every single day in hotels across the country. You land at your hotel, pull out your phone, and see Marriott Guest Wi-Fi Frutal in your network list. You connect without thinking twice because it sounds official, except it's not the hotel's network. It's someone's laptop in the parking lot pretending to be the hotel. Now, every website you visit, every password you type, every email you click, all of it flows through their computer first. It's called an evil twin attack, and it happens constantly because it's absurdly easy to pull off. You don't need hacking skills to do this. You need a laptop and 15 minutes on YouTube. And QR codes present another invisible threat most people never consider. You sit down at a restaurant, scan the code on the table to see the menu, and suddenly you're on a website asking you to enter your credit card. That's not the restaurant's official website at all. That's someone who printed a sticker, slapped it over the real QR code, and is now collecting payment info from every hungry customer. It's the digital version of those card skimmers on gas pumps, except easier to deploy and harder to detect. This matters because the stuff that actually puts you at risk is the stuff you do without thinking. The modified USB port scenario requires someone to physically alter public infrastructure and hope they get lucky. The fake Wi-Fi scenario requires someone to sit in a parking lot with a laptop. The malicious cable scenario requires you to trust a random object you found. The QR code scam requires you to scan something without checking where it leads. Which one sounds easier for a criminal to pull off when you're tired and distracted? Now here's what you need to understand about protecting yourself. You don't need to live in fear, but you do need to control what you're connecting to. Think of your phone like your house keys that you wouldn't hand to strangers. You wouldn't use a keychain someone left behind in a parking lot either. Same logic applies to charging and connecting your devices. First choice, always, use your own wall charger in a regular electrical outlet. The wall outlet only delivers power, no data pins, no communication, no risk. It's like filling up your car with gas at the pump. The pump doesn't connect to your car's computer and start downloading your GPS history. It just gives you fuel and minds its own business. If you've got your own charger and you see an outlet, use it and problem solved. Second choice, if you absolutely must use a public USB port, use a charge-only cable or a USB data blocker. A charge-only cable only has the power wires connected, no data wires. A USB data blocker is a tiny adapter you plug into the port first. It physically disconnects the data pins and only lets power through. They cost about $5 on Amazon and they're worth every penny. Your phone charges normally, but nothing else can happen. It's like putting a screen protector on your phone. Cheap, simple, effective, and it just lives in your bag until you need it. Here's something most people don't realize about public networks. Never connect to public Wi-Fi and start logging into sensitive accounts without protection. If you must use public Wi-Fi, use a VPN to protect yourself first. A VPN encrypts your traffic, so even if someone's running a fake network, they can't read what you're doing. It's like having a conversation in a language only you and your bank understand, while everyone else just hears gibberish. Free VPNs exist, but paid ones are usually more reliable. Either way, it's cheaper than explaining to your credit card company how someone in Romania just bought a jet ski. And here's the QR code rule you need to memorize right now. If you see a QR code at a restaurant, hotel, or random public place, don't scan it on autopilot. Look at the URL before you tap anything on the screen. Does it match the business name and look legitimate? Does it look like a legitimate domain, or does it look like a string of random letters and numbers? If a website asks for anything more than agreeing to terms, like payment info, passwords, or personal details, stop immediately. That's not how legitimate businesses operate with their customers. It's like if you walked into a coffee shop and they asked for your social security number before giving you the Wi-Fi password. Here's the real rule nobody tells you about staying safe. The risk isn't the airport, and the risk isn't the hotel lobby. You're the last line of defense, and that's not paranoia, that's just reality. TSA isn't checking USB ports for malicious hardware. The hotel isn't verifying that every Wi-Fi network with their name in it is actually theirs. The restaurant isn't monitoring every QR code sticker on their tables. It's like locking your car in a parking lot when you go shopping. Nobody's saying the parking lot is full of thieves, but you still lock your door, because it takes 2 seconds and eliminates the risk. Some of you are thinking this sounds exhausting, and I get it. You don't need to live like you're in a spy movie. You don't need to inspect every cable with a magnifying glass or refuse to connect to the internet ever again. You just need to carry a wall charger, maybe throw a $5 data blocker in your bag, and think for 3 seconds before you connect. That's it, and that's the whole defense. It's less effort than remembering your email password. To recap, juicejacking is technically possible, but practically rare. Modified cables, fake Wi-Fi networks, and malicious QR codes are common and actually happening right now. Use your own wall charger whenever possible. Use a charge-only cable or data blocker if you're stuck with a public USB port. Never log into anything sensitive on public Wi-Fi without a VPN. And don't trust QR codes just because they're in a nice building. You're not being paranoid. You're just refusing to make it easy for someone to ruin your week. So here's what I want to know. Have you ever used a cable you found in public? Or do you treat random charging equipment like you'd treat random food on a subway seat?